Hey guys, so today's video is not about learning a specific technology. It's rather about how to have a right state of mind when you're learning something new. When I try to learn something new, I have a lot of doubts. I'm sure you have it too. Like, why am I learning this? Will I be able to learn this, or is this technology right for me? Or am I going in the right direction? What if this becomes obsolete? I would be wasting a lot of time. Or sometime, I'm not smart enough to learn this. I've tried the other thing. I did not learn. So if I try this thing, it looks even harder than the previous thing that I tried. So I'm gonna fail. There are so many doubts in our mind. I still have a lot of doubts in my mind when I try something new. The important thing to notice is that we all have conquered some of it. I have conquered a lot of it. Okay, that's why I'm here. I'm teaching because I've learned a lot of things. I'm learning constantly every single day. And that's why I'm able to teach you all these new things. And so I want to share that with you, how to do that. And maybe you can share something with me so we can have a dialogue. We all learn from each other, right? And I don't want to be recognized as a teacher who taught JavaScript to people. I want to recognize as a person who actually excited people to learn new things. I want to recognize as a person who changed how people think. This is actually a second video. I made another video a few months ago. I provide a link in the end. What I'm trying to say is that when you try to learn something, you need to have the right state of mind and tools to achieve that goal. So today I want to show you. And one of the first things, we all can learn. Now there was, when I was growing up, a lot of people would say to me that, oh, this guy is not that smart. He's not gonna be able to understand this, or, oh, he failed here, so he's not good at learning. And I started to have lots of doubts in my mind that I'm probably worthless in learning this thing, and I behaved accordingly, which was a wrong thing. It took me quite a while to actually realize that I had a lot of potential, which even my teacher never showed me. In my time, at least, teachers were basically considered you as a one herd, and then they just apply the same method on every one of us without thinking that, okay, this is not a right method for these guys. Okay, they need something different. Well, this kid's going to be mature at a different age, and all these factors were not there. And I feel like our education system still, it's not there. Maybe I'll do something about it. Maybe you can do something about it. To creating self-doubt into kids' mind, say that you cannot learn this. I think it's the worst thing to have. So that's the first thing I want you to conquer. I want you to say that you can learn. Everybody can learn. Yes, there are some gifted people, more gifted than the others. Some people have more memory power. Some people have more ability to analyze things, But we all are different in our own way. We all have something that the other person doesn't have. And so we need to accept that, and we need to utilize that information and make that our power. Because persistence can be a power too. A lot of smart people, they don't have persistence, so they cannot learn because of that. So you need to recognize your power, or achieve one of those powers that can be useful to you. So stop making that excuse that I cannot learn, and accept the fact that you can learn anything. And that's the first step in learning. The second thing I would say is find your strength. My strength is my curiosity. When I was in school, I was curious about history. I would learn about history and all the figures. I was curious about geography. I wanted to know about a lot of different places. But I had an innate curiosity from the beginning, which I recognized much later on, that actually drove me to what I am today. Now, I'm not curious about knitting, for example. And that's why I'm not into knitting business. And I'm sure it's a great thing for a lot of people. If something is not for you, then it's not for you, right? But that doesn't stop you from doing everything else, right? So I would say you need to be curious enough to start something. If I'm just learning JavaScript just because everybody else is learning JavaScript, I would not have any passion, and if because of the lack of passion, I may not even try hard, my brain won't accept it, and ultimately, that becomes a factor for failure. So interest, curiosity, these things you need to develop. And if you watch my other video where I explain this very well, follow that path and be curious about what you're learning. Be excited about what you're learning and have hope. I can say that. If you have hope, you can learn anything. Another important factor in learning and having the right state of mind is denying the fact that you don't have a time. And I see a lot of people making an excuse, even me sometimes, I convince myself I don't have time today to make this tutorial. But right now it's about midnight. I know there are a lot of lights here, but right now it's about midnight. I'm making this tutorial because you do whatever when you find time. And excuse that I don't have time is a huge excuse, I think. You can always find time, okay? Get rid of your phone or, whatever is distraction in your world. Find, create a schedule where you can see, oh, this time I'm doing this useless things, get rid of it and find some time to learn. You can learn while you're eating your lunch. You can learn on your way to work. Now, some people would say, yeah, that guy doesn't have a family, he can learn, but I can't because I have family, I have kids, I have old grandmother who needs my attention. Yes, a lot of people are in your situation. It's not only you, and they all can find time. So can you. Stop making that excuse. You have time. Find it and spend it to learn something new. Another factor in learning is a lot of people try to learn on the surface. For example, when I started JavaScript, I just started building things in JavaScript. I wanted to build some example. I just looked at some example in the web and I just started it. A wrong approach because I lack fundamentals. So the state of mind should be, I want to start from the root, learn the fundamentals first before building a project. I remember a long time ago when Java Beans, something I forgot what the technology, was very hot and everybody was trying to learn Java Beans, and one day my friend said, oh, you should learn that too. And I took some classes and I was half asleep most of the time. I remember I just thought, okay, maybe if I just start a project on Java Beans that, I would learn it. And I just failed miserably because half the time I just spend in figuring out why something doesn't work. And that was because of lack of fundamentals. So if you're learning C++, start from the pointers. If you're learning JavaScript, start from defining a variable, understanding functions, and then move forward up. And try to find everything about it. So if you try to understand how to define a variable, try to find out everything about defining a variable before moving to the next topic. So when you move to the next topic, your brain would be so tuned that defining variable is just like a piece of cake from that point on. Another thing I do is I look at the history. So when I started learning JavaScript, I started with the history. So I understood exactly how it worked, why it is what it is today and all that stuff. So in my mind, I can relate to things, why there is a old way of defining variable, why there's a new way of defining variable, and all that stuff. So it doesn't become like mixed up in my head. And I also learn. I also love history, so it's my second nature to just anything I try to learn, I just go find about history first before I delve into it. So it kind of gives you a purpose. Why it was created, and why am I using it? All of these answers you need to collect before you start learning something. One of the most important thing in learning or starting something new is trouble with starting. Let's say you are ready to learn, and it could be knitting or whatever that you're trying to learn. But then, when you just get there, your mind is so wandering, you're just not able to start. For example, I have the same problem because I make at least 2 tutorials every week. At least I try to. And I release mostly on Mondays and Wednesdays. And what happens? Sunday comes or Saturday comes and I tell myself I'm going to make a tutorial, at least one or two, and then the whole Saturday passes, and then Sunday comes, then I start panicking. Okay, well, I haven't made a tutorial yet. What am I going to release? Because it takes time, right? It takes time to plan, edit. I have to make a thumbnail. I have to plan for the release and all that stuff, right? Around the lunchtime, I start preparing things in my head, and then I want to sleep. There's so many things, and there's so many distractions, right? And usually around like 3 o'clock or so, I just drop everything and I just say, I have to do this. If I don't do this now, it's going to be too late and I'm not going to be able to make this tutorial. I think I should make a video on a procrastination as well. I think a lot of people procrastinate, and I procrastinate as well. But in the end, I usually am successful. There are times when I haven't released videos, but most of the time I do in time. Like right now, it's around midnight, but I already had one video that I'm going to release tomorrow. This is for the Wednesday video. And the trouble with starting is because of one important point, which is you don't have a clear mind. So you need to achieve clear mind if you want to have a good start. One of the most important thing I would want to emphasize is good night's sleep. If you don't have a good night's sleep, all the neurons or whatever happening in your head are not wired enough, because scientifically speaking, when you sleep, that's the time the rewiring of your brain happens, right? It actually put all the things in the memory right place. And in order to learn, you have to have that. That's why the taking breaks are also very important. If you go for like a boot camp, and if you have a 5-day boot camp, and if you learn everything that they teach you for 5 days without any breaks, what happens is that your system is overloaded with a lot of information. It did not have time to actually things to sink in. Your brain is not just a most efficient machine that you take something in, it just puts things in the right place, and then you take something in, it does the same thing. It doesn't work that way. You learn something, you digest that information, you regurgitate in your head, you utilize it, then you put something new which utilizes the first information, and it's a process. So taking a break is very important. A lot of people meditate before they start something new. If that works for you, do it. If music helps you, do it. You need to figure out what helps you focus. And once you find that, you can do it. So that's all I want to say about that. And I hope this has helped you, or at least provided some new perspective or motivation. And if you are motivated by watching this video, keep that motivation up and start to learn something new using the technique I showed. If something that works for you or worked for you in the past or recently, then you should share with me and I can share with the world. And send this video to your friends who are struggling to learn, or if you want them to be motivated, because knowledge is there to share. And if you don't share it, then it's useless. And I hope you have learned something from this video. And if you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and provide a nice comment of what you have learned and what your plan might be after watching this video. And you can help the channel via Patreon, or you can translate this video for me to your native language, so your fellow countrymen can also learn how to learn. And if you have any specific subject that you want me to cover, feel free to suggest, and I will try to cover it as well. So thank you, and happy learning.